Hi, I'm Malin Johnson with On the Bricks. We're here at the Main Street Guyman office, and this is a wonderful June, and we want to talk to Jada Breeden and find out some of the facts and figures that are at the end of the Pioneer Day celebration. Jada Breeden is the executive director of the Guyman Chamber of Commerce, and the largest event that the chamber does each year and has for 85 years. Is that right, Jada?
That's correct.
85 years is the Guyman Pioneer Days. Now, for those who don't realize what happens that first weekend in May, can you give us a little rundown?
So Pioneer Days is a very busy time for everybody. We start the week off, if you're just talking about Pioneer Days in May, we can start with the stuff that happens during that first week, but also things happen way before. There's a logo, and there's a theme, and there's a parade marshal and a pioneer queen that are selected, and they're announced and paraded around to different events. So Pioneer Days is more than just that week of events that happens in town. So it's a great time that starts months earlier. So it's, you start off with on Monday with the rodeo slack, and then
So technically the rodeo starts on Monday.
Yes, and it's kind of they call them go-rounds. And so I'm not rodeo savvy as much as most people, but it's kind of like a trial. They have to compete in order to make it to one of the performances. And there's 4 performances. Those final people will make it to those 4 performances. But they do start with the slack, and there's the slack events with everything but the rough stock. So the bareback and the saddle bronc and the bull riding, they don't do any slack stuff for that, because it's all timed event. And the better or the lower the time in different go-arounds, the aggregate time is what puts them into the end.
And I don't know if it's true now, but at one point it was true that not everybody who enters into the Pioneer Day Rodeo gets to come.
That's correct.
You have to, a lot of times you have to have been at the national finals, say in saddle bronc, and done all this and that before you can make it in there. And so it literally is the cream of the crop.
Yes. This year, Pioneer Days Rodeo attracted 961 contestants, and that's the most that we've had in forever. Actually, I think it is a record number of entries. So that says something about our time of year, and that there is a good following. The more the more contestants that know that you have a good event, they're going to try to make it and be here. And what they do, added money is what the committee provides. So the PRCA
By the sponsors.
Yes.
So that means like Long and McKinnon sponsors the barrel racing.
Well, actually not quite. Yes, we do have sponsors per event, but the added money is put into a single pot. There's a PRCA and a WPRA, and they both come to Guyman. The WPRA is the Women's Professional Rodeo Association, so the barrel racing, and if you had poles or goat tying or anything like that, that would be here, but we only do barrel racing. So the committee raises through various sponsorships. The event sponsors actually pay for the trophy belts.
Oh, got you.
Yeah, so we're very unique in that as well. The winners will get a custom hand-tooled belt and Montana Silversmith conchos that go on those belts. So they're very nice. A lot of rodeos give different things, buckles or saddles or pistols, but we give belts. But the money that that is the added money is raised from our sponsors throughout the community. We do some fundraising things, and that money is just a portion. It's about a quarter of what the total payout is. So the total payout is the added money plus the entry fees plus anything that the PRCA collects for each rodeo. So they'll have national sponsors like Wrangler or Justin Boots or Ram Rodeo, and those are the major sponsors that sponsor the national finals, and a little bit of that gets to come our way. Not a whole bunch, but a little bit. And they also provide us some, like the Ram rep will come out and he'll provide the vehicle to take the barrels out and set them out in the arena, and the Justin team, they'll send out their Justin Sports medicine trailer, so anybody that's injured or hurt during a performance, they can go get taken care of free of charge. Now, if they're taken to the hospital, you know, they do what they can on site. It's not, you know.
Okay, so let's go back to the schedule.
Okay, sorry, we digressed. You have the really fun things that the kids love are carnival. And parents can go out and have hot dogs and funnel cakes and do all that
candy.
kind of. Just have some family time out at the carnival. And we have Rotary Barbecue on Friday. That's a tradition that's always, I think way back when it started out as part of the Pioneer Day
To feed the trail riders.
Yes.
And they asked somebody, and it wasn't the rodeo at the beginning. I don't remember who it was, but the Rotary then came in and, it was to feed the trail riders.
And this year we were, it happens, but our trail riders weren't able to come because of the blizzard. And so the trail rider group that is left is out of Elkhart, and there was power lines, there was impassable roads. It was just too devastating for them to come. A lot of them are still looking for cattle at that time, so there was no way that they were going to, you know, give up their livelihood to make a trail ride, and I completely understand that. So that was one of the traditional things that is kind of, oh, darn it, we missed that.
And there was a time when they had trail riders that came from north, south, east, and west. There were 4 that came in. One came from Spearman.
Mm-hmm.
That was a mule train, I believe.
Yep.
One came from Sharon Mutual.
One came from Hardesty.
Yeah, it was good.
It was neat. But we're down to 1, so we hope to keep them around as long as possible. It's a lot of fun for them and for us.
And there's several locals that also go to the trail riders camps in the evening. So that's nice.
Yeah. Then there's the Mercantile, there's a Pioneer Tailgater, there's a Pentecostal turkey noodle dinner. The Guyman Theater typically puts on a production during that time. There's just a lot of spin-off, or I guess you don't call them, they're tag-along events that aren't actually a part of, they're not actually chamber events. They're community events that happen during Pioneer Days that we're really excited that people do that. It gives a variety of things to do.
Sure, and they're part of the tradition. There's the free breakfast also.
Oh, yes. There's a free breakfast, and then sometimes I feel bad saying this, but the old timers registration, I don't know if they thought it was bad then, but to me it makes me feel like I'm calling them old folks. And
you are.
Yeah. But
and I think I could actually get a ribbon now.
Oh, see? Oh, and this year, Diana Brown sponsored the beard contest.
She brought that back.
Yes,
she did.
That was really cool. We just have a lot of things that have traditionally happened with Pioneer Days that kind of disappeared, and it wasn't because nobody thought they were great. It was the volunteers needed to do them, or sometimes not there. And it's a lot going on, and people really, the people that do volunteer, they put in a lot of time.
Well, let's talk about some of the volunteers. Okay. About how many do you have with the chamber event portions?
The chamber events, we have, outside of rodeo, there's probably 30 people that really make things work, and then they bring in others. So honestly, I never get to meet all of the volunteers. So if you're a volunteer, I really do appreciate everything that you do, and I'm sorry I haven't shook your hand or hugged your neck or whatever I needed to do, but I really do appreciate everything that they do. Now when we talk about rodeo, it is a chamber event, but there's about 100 people that are working just at the rodeo grounds that are volunteers. Now there's some other people that are there that I'm not counting like the emergency crews or anything like that. So just all volunteers. There's a group from Goodwill that's been working behind the chutes since.
You've been working the arena.
Well, county commissioners and.
Yeah, Jack Strain and his motley crew, I'm going to guess, have been 40 years down there.
They've been a long time. But
they just handle it.
Yeah, you don't ever have to worry about what they're going to do because they know what to do.
Yeah, and it's one of those where the Pioneer Day Committee meets all year long.
Mm-hmm.
All year long. Strain and his group, they don't come to meetings.
No.
But they know better than what the committee does, what happens that night, and they just take care of it.
Yeah. And without their help, it would be impossible.
Oh, yeah. Without a lot of people.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a lot of volunteers that are pitching in and going in. Let's talk about the sponsorships.
Okay.
About how much do you bring in sponsorship money?
Well, what we bring in is considered cash and trade. So if we're talking about like Anchor D donates water that we can sell, so that it is a trade, but it turns into cash for the committee.
Because you don't have to spend the cash.
Correct.
So in kind.
So what we really hope to get as far as cash dollars is around $180,000, and that helps cover our expenses for the stock and for the performance contracts, which includes the barrel man and the sound guy and the announcers and a lot of those things that are going on. So
you have timers and all that.
Secretaries. Mm-hmm.
And they have to be specific people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some of them we don't get to choose. The PRCA says, here's
Judges.
your judges. These are who you have. The secretary, she is kind of a shoe-in for our event. She's been here for long enough that they ask her first. So kind of a right of first refusal. And she collects her team. So all that cash money that's raised goes to pay for your sanctioning fees and for your, like the production crews, you have to pay for the scoreboard, and there's just a lot of production expense.
And just to the stock contractor?
Just to the stock contractor is over $110,000. And that doesn't include all of the stock. It's roughly, we're talking about $30,000, $40,000 per event that we pay for. And that's all of the people that they bring. They have a shoot boss. They have a person that helps organize all the
pickup men,
all the queens. There's a lot of moving parts that I had no idea of when I took this job. I think they didn't tell me on purpose.
You also have a marketing.
Yes.
A marketing budget, because you need
to
people
promote
to know when to come.
Come to the
carnival.
Just the
when
things
the parade
are going
is.
on. Mm-hmm.
By the way, you did move the parade up an hour this year?
The parade was moved up an hour. We did a voluntary entry fee. We were able to collect over $1,000. That was 100% of it was paid back out to the winners. And I think it was successful. It was nice to be able to give, like, the Girl Scouts and the 4-H group a check for, you know, doing a job well done. And then they have camps, they have things that they need to do as part of their group, and it was just a real fun thing for them.
Nice.
And I hope that everybody really understands the reasoning for changes, but it was mainly safety. There's a lot of safety concerns with having a parade. There's live animals and live people, and there's a lot of kids, and sometimes longhorn steers and kids don't mix, and I don't ever want that to ever stop a parade. So the Guyman Lions Club stepped up, helped. They do every year. They do a great job lining people up, and they put everybody in order, and they send them down the street, and it's a good time. It's a tradition. It's always been one of the best things that happen.
I know that on Facebook we asked people what their favorite part Pioneer Days was, and the number one was the parade.
And it is quite a parade. So, and we hope just to make it
but
better
in all
and better.
honesty, what you brought in this year for the parade was given right back in prizes.
Yes.
So there was no income from the parade. So any advertising of the parade time and stuff was an expense that is covered by the sponsorships, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we have hired, and for the past 10 years he's worked with the committee, and his name is Ted Harbin, and he has Twisted Rodeo. And he is probably one of the best media writers for the sport of rodeo in the United States. He is formerly a Daily Oklahoman
Rodeo writer.
and so he knows the business. He knows the markets. We discuss all year long.
Knows the stock.
And he knows the stock contractors. He knows more about the contestants than they probably know about themselves. He could probably tell them where they were at a month ago and
So
how
you
they
pay
did.
him to work for you all year long.
Yes.
And so what would you give as your total marketing cost?
Our total marketing cost is about $26,000. And that includes his fees, any production fees for radio, for our posters, and all the print materials that we use for advertising, all the radio ads, all that voiceover stuff that happens. And he uses $20,000 that is awarded from the Guyman Convention and Tourism Board to market our rodeo.
So the city convention and tourism is one of the larger sponsors.
Yes, they're a presenting sponsor. So they do a lot to make sure that the people in the outlying areas, one of their rules is
Convention and tourism money
yes,
rules.
yeah, convention and tourism money rules is that 70% of the actual dollar amount promised will be spent 40 miles outside of the radius of the event town. So
To bring people in.
yes, because the goal is to fill up the beds in the hotels. When the beds are full, the hotels
Then
are
it
full.
replenishes the fund.
Yeah, so that's the reason why. So 30% can be spent locally and on any production fees, any of that kind of stuff. But we do spend more than that because sponsors will get signs and flags and banners and all that kind of stuff. So there is more spent on advertising than was what actually awarded. So
Through convention
and tourism,
Yeah.
yes.
And how much is it for one of those signs?
For a sign for a new sponsor, It's roughly $200.
So if your sponsor comes in as a $500 sponsor, the first year you basically only have 300 of that to use.
Right.
And
Or
then
200, yeah, 300.
And then do they get anything else other than the sign for their sponsorship?
There's a level, so we'll have levels. You can have an ad in the program, which they don't really come with any tickets or anything, just
I see.
their print. But the signs and all that, they typically come with tickets depending on how much they've spent. The larger sponsors get box seats, and the box seats are a hot commodity for Saturday night. If I could have a whole arena full of box seats, I could sell them. But
And you could actually make money, maybe.
maybe we could. But there's 210 seats in there, and then we have some people that, whenever they made the arena, they provided concrete or metal or dirt work or whatever it is, financial support, whatever it was, and they have what they call lifetime seats. And so those lifetime seats, they're kind of taken out of the mix. Nobody gets to touch those.
And you know, when I remember quite a few years ago, the committee was faced with, does lifetime mean the lifetime of who wrote the check? Or does it go on to the family?
And
None of that was ever.
I don't guess anybody ever thought that far ahead.
No.
But they did decide it was a lifetime of the person that wrote the check or who they donated them in the name of. So some of them have been released back to the committee to use as sponsor seats, because if they do get box seats, that comes with their package.
Okay.
And then the rest of them are open for sale.
Now you do something special with the box seats. One on Friday night, isn't it?
Friday night is our Tough Enough to Wear Pink night, and we could never make Tough Enough to Pink work without the partnership that we have with Oklahoma Panhandle Partners. They come in and they decorate the arena in pink, and they put up banners and flags and provide cookies in the hospitality. They also sell t-shirts during that time, so we encourage people that are attending the rodeo to wear pink, and you can buy one of their shirts at the door as well. But most of the contestants and all the contractors, they all know that Friday night is our pink night, and they all participate. So it was a great partnership with them. And we donate a set of seats for their honored family. So they might be honoring a cancer victim or a survivor or a donor or somebody that has worked really hard within the group to promote the Tough Enough to Wear Pink. So we donate the box seats for them to do what they'd like to.
Okay. So what are some of your other big, we've got marketing, we've got the stock contractor, your concessions, you spend a lot of money on that, but you make money.
Yes.
Correct, on concessions.
Concessions, it's a mixture between donations and purchase. So we try to keep those expenses low, because if we didn't, we wouldn't make any money.
Is the mercantile something that makes the committee money or the chamber money?
A little bit of money. The thing about the mercantile is it's a craft show, and so we want the vendors to do well. And in order for them to do well, we have to set the pricing for a booth space at something that they can afford to do. But we do pay for the use of the facility for the carnival and for the building during that time. So we pay the
fairgrounds.
The fairgrounds, rent for that time. But it makes a little bit of money, and it's mainly for people to be drawn into Guyman and
To have something to do.
have something to do. And there's several vendors that also stay in the hotels, so that's another little bed tax incentive.
And they certainly eat while they're here. Usually,
do.
I mean, I don't
People
see
do
them.
eat.
They don't waste away that I've noticed. No.
Yeah. They'll take
Carnival
turns.
makes money for Pioneer Day.
Carnival does make money. The
That's really weather related.
yeah, I would never put my eggs in all of that basket. But it tends to do fairly well. It's not anything that we count on, but it kind of helps cover expenses.
Well, and it covers expenses such as the Pioneer Queen and the Parade Marshal. Those are all expenses.
Yeah, it's roughly $1,200 a year that we expense on the Pioneer Queen and the Pioneer Marshal, and it's not that we ever expect anything.
It's just part of it.
Yeah, it's tradition. It's what we do, and so the carnival money helps cover some of those expenses.
Now you have a lot of queens come in that take place, the rodeo queens, but they take part in quite a few of the different events. Is
Yes.
that something that a sponsor, I mean, is it, it's an expense also?
Yes, it is, and we do have some sponsors that help pay for. They do different things throughout the community. So we have a bus. The school donates the use of a bus and a driver for the day, but they drive the queens around town, and they get to go do fun stuff, and they hang out. But the queens are housed within our community, so we have
With individuals?
Yeah, so we have people that will step up and let them sleep there. I can't imagine that many hair extensions and eyelashes in a room, but you know, the Stone Ciphers seem to keep a lot of them. So Ken and Sherry Stone
it's nice
Cipher.
to get more people involved.
Yes.
And it's nice. They go to the schools. They go. Yeah, it's fun.
Clown
They're
contest.
in the parade.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's nice. Now, why is it important that the chamber put on an event? Same reason that it's important for other people to put on events. What does it do for the community?
Well, 85 years ago, the very first Pioneer Days was started because of a really bad economic time, and people were just down on their luck and kind of sad all the time. And a group of people got together and said, you know what, why don't we do something fun? So they created Pioneer Days, and it has a really great history. It has a great turnout, and it does something to get the community excited. I mean, the city and Main Street, they get involved.
Heavens, they're painting the streets and
Yes.
and cleaning up the town for Pioneer Day. That's the goal.
Yes.
Maybe they would do it every year, but the
that
goal
is by Pioneer Days. So it's always nice to know that the groups that we have here in town are also supportive. And because it's not just a chamber event, it's a community event. It's something
Correct.
that is great for the community.
So bottom line, and I know you don't have everything in for this year.
Correct.
Bottom line, did the chamber make bukus of money?
No, I wish that were different, but no. It is not perceived as such because of so many things that are happening, and people perceive that there's a lot of income, but honestly,
Well, they see a lot of people in the stands, and they see a lot of people at the carnival, but they don't know it's $100,000 for the stock contract.
Yeah. And if we could make it wash, if we could break even, that'd be great. But it's been a while since we've done that. And I don't mean to sound whiny or anything. It's not poor us. We need a lot more community involvement. We need more volunteers. We need more people to be involved with all community events. I mean, you can't survive it as a community without having people give up some time and effort. And as much as I love Outback and all the other things that are happening, we just have to remember that it takes all of us.
It's a community.
Yes.
Well, kudos to the chamber and all the volunteers, to all the other groups that come in and help with Pioneer Day, those that go and watch the parade, and kudos to everybody who is a part of it, and I hope it goes another 85 years.